Hello, my name is Michael Gaddy, and today we'll be covering ethics, politics, diversity, accountability, and workplace relations. Here are some simple definitions that outline the way we make ethical decisions. Let's begin with morals. The text defines morals as an individual's personal standard of right and wrong. Values are an individual's important beliefs that guide behavior. And a person's character is their unique qualities that serve as a reflection of personal morals and values. And ethics is a moral standard of right and wrong. Now, I've underlined personal in the morals definition, and I've highlighted moral in the ethics definition. And I've done that to pose a question. And that question is, what's the difference between ethics and morals? Ethics is the observation of morality. And morality is an individual's personal perception of right and wrong. A person can believe that he or she is moral and still be unethical. However, a person cannot lack morality and be ethical. Most of us with any work experience have witnessed unethical behavior in the past. This first example I personally witnessed on board my ship in the U.S. Navy. I belong to the bosun mates division, and our sole duty was to maintain the integrity of the ship. That includes bust and rust, topside painting. Everyone was at work except for one sailor. One sailor was missing in action, and it turns out our supervisor found that sailor napping in the laundry bin down in the living quarters. To say the least, our supervisor was displeased with the sailor's unethical work behavior. The second example we all should have heard of if we pay attention to the news. Whenever water was tested at a purifying plant in Flint, Michigan, the levels of lead in the water were found to be unsafe for consumption. Management, as well as government officials, turned a blind eye to this fact, and they are now paying for their unethical decision. Why behave ethically? How does ethical behavior affect workplace relationships? Ethical behavior improves trust. It improves trust in yourself. It improves trust between yourself and your colleagues. And it also improves trust between yourself and your supervisors. Ethical behavior ensures job security, not only from your current employer, but it also increases the likelihood that your current employer will recommend you to future employers. Ethical behavior enhances the possibility for promotions. And it also creates a more powerful you. Power. Do you have power at your workplace? You may be more powerful than you think. Power is simply a person's ability to influence other people's behavior. We all have some power over certain people's behavior. It's interesting to learn the 7 bases of power. Someone has legitimate power whenever they hold a title, such as a manager or a district manager. Coercive power is power that's enforced by punishment. Reward power is enforced by positive reinforcement. Connection power is appointed to someone that is linked to someone with legitimate power. Charismatic power is the power that someone that is very likable obtains. Someone has information power whenever they've learned everything there is to know about their job. They've done their research and they know it all. Someone has expert power when they're experienced in their field. Now that we know the 7 bases of power, we can assess the power that we do have and work on obtaining the power that we do not. First, know that coercive power should only be used in special cases, such as breaking of company policy or extreme unethical behavior. Build your network. The more people you know, the more opportunity that you have to become more powerful. Be informed. Learn everything there is to know about your job. Know your job better than your colleagues. Ask a classmate how they feel about politics. 9 times out of 10, the response will be, I don't care about politics, or I don't like politics, or politicians make me sick. They're sleazy, and I don't like them. The word politician tends to be used negatively in today's language, mostly due to the fact that politicians will say just about anything in order to obtain votes. Politics is not a bad thing, though. It's a misconceived term. The interest of a politician is to gain power and use that power. Now, if Superman was a politician, reciprocity would be his kryptonite. Now, what do I mean by that? What is reciprocity? Reciprocity is when you ask someone to do you a favor, and then later the person comes back expecting you to do a favor for them. The reason why reciprocity would be Superman's kryptonite is that it has a negative effect on politics. Because if I asked Joe Schmo to do me a favor, and then later on Joe Schmo expects me to do a favor, and that favor requires me to behave unethically, or makes me make a unethical decision, then whatever power that I had would be lost. Ethical decisions are not easy to make. In order to help us make ethical decisions, we have the 3-level choice tool. If you're forced to make an ethical decision, you should ask yourself first, is the decision legal? If the decision is not legal, it's unethical. Is the choice fair? Well, an ethical choice should be fair for all. Would the choice weigh on your conscience? Do you believe that that choice is right? If the answer is no, then it's unethical. If you know an employee is behaving unethically, how should you report it? Well, first you should determine whether the unethical behavior is illegal. If it's illegal, then it's your duty to report any illegal behavior to your employer. If it's illegal and extreme behavior, you should notify outside officials of the employee's actions. Notify management. If the action is neither illegal or extreme, then notify the management. If management says that, hey, that behavior is okay, well, you have to accept their decision. If you cannot accept the decision, you should probably consider finding employment elsewhere. Diversity has been a part of America since the beginning. Founded by immigrants, the United States of America is by far the most diverse country in the world. In the last 8 years, workplace diversity has been a growing issue. Workplace diversity refers to differences in age, gender, race, ethnicity, economic status, physical makeup, sexual orientation, religion, and other criteria in the workplace. Race is physical traits that are attributed to a person's ethnicity. And culture refers to the different behaviors attributed to a person's ethnic heritage. All of these things are to be taken into consideration when evaluating fairness within the workplace. Workplace discrimination is the act of treating people differently based on their diverse differences. Thought processes that lead to workplace discrimination include ethnocentrism, which is the belief that one's race is superior over another. Stereotyping, which is the generalization of a certain group or situation based on an individual's perception of that group or situation. Prejudice is favoring or disfavoring a certain group based on perception. Since diversity is a growing issue in the workplace, companies address workplace diversity by developing diversity statements, which remind employees that diversity is a company's asset. Companies use diversity training to combat discrimination in the workplace, and companies break glass walls and glass ceilings, which prevent minorities from advancing in the company. Accountability means reporting to whoever appointed you a certain responsibility. Empowerment is a tactic used to push power and decision making to the individuals who are closest to the customer in an effort to increase quality, customer satisfaction, and profits. Today's workplace views maturity, confidence, and a positive attitude as an asset. Mature employees behave consistently around bosses, colleagues, as well as subordinates. Mature employees treat everyone in the workplace respectfully and professionally. So, do you have a good boss or a bad boss? Here's the difference. Good bosses are fair. They respect their employees, and they help their employees succeed in the company. Bad bosses put their employees down. They use intimidation to manage their employees. A boss's behavior can either positively or negatively affect employee morale and overall corporate culture. Whether your boss is a good boss or a bad boss, it's imperative that you maintain a professional and respectful relationship with them. The title of this last slide is in the color Danger Red, and for good reason. When dealing with this subject, we all must tread lightly. Dating within the workplace is considered inappropriate behavior. Typically, dating causes conflict and awkward situations between those involved and other staff. It's always best to separate your personal life from your professional life. Thank you for watching this presentation. My name is Michael Gaddy, and have a wonderful week.